Okay, Amit, take us to the other end of the journey, words Marxism, socialism, and communism.
These three are related, so you're right that they kind of belong together in one section, but at the same time, they mean subtly different things. You can think of Marxism as a theory, socialism as a path, communism as a destination. So if you think about it in that way and they kind of emerged in that order, it begins to make sense. Now, Marxism is something that emerges from the work of Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. In 1848, there was a Communist Manifesto. In 1867, there was Das Kapital. And the philosophy emerges from there. It was a way of looking at the world, right? So let me kind of sum up the salient features of Marxism. Their first big point, which runs through everything, is about the oppressed and the oppressors. That it's essentially that the world has two classes: the bourgeoisie, who own the means of production, and the proletariat, which is the working class. That's your first point. They look at everything through the prism of class, that these are the two classes and they're oppressor and oppressed, and it's not a good state of things. Second main point, the proletariat is oppressed by the bourgeoisie. The workers are oppressed. If you work in a factory, you are actually oppressed. Your surplus value is all being taken by the evil capitalist, the factory owner. And this is a problem, and you gradually, as a worker, you get alienated from your work, and you just, it affects you and it affects the way that you are. And in the Marxist theory, everything in society flows from these material circumstances. That these are your two classes, one class is oppressing the other, everything else, society, culture, etc., flows from this. And where this then goes on is that Marxism talks about how this must be changed. It cannot continue because eventually the workers will be completely impoverished by capitalism. And then they will have to, overthrow their feudal lords, as it were. And ideally, you want to live in a society where everyone is equal, but to get there first, you need the workers to overthrow the evil capitalists. And therefore, that will lead to what they call dictatorship of the proletariat, a phrase that, you must have heard. This is where it comes from. So the theory as a whole is really seductive. And the interesting thing about all ideologies is that they will come up with a theory of the world where everything can fit. If you think about it, you can explain everything through this theory. Whatever happens, you can fit it into this. That, oppressor oppress chal raha hai, and etc. And whatever happens, you can fit it into this. And any ideological theory that works will appear to explain everything, and therefore is deeply seductive to the young. Indeed, I must confess, Ajay Shah, that when I was 18, I remember going to college once, and for a few days in my bag, I carried around with me Das Kapital by Marx and Engels. Yeah, because I've actually read these books when I was young. But thank God they didn't completely destroy my brain. But yeah, I did that then. And I also thought, I'm so cool, I'm an intellectual, and, all of those things. And so that's, what Marxism is. I've tried to, do justice to its definition. Now,